Welcome to another video of the Target Individual Program, the Target Individual Experience. This is going to be a short video, and I'm going to explain certain things as I normally do. But first, I would like to rehash on what is a coercive persuasion program, what are the tactics, the manipulation that's involved on the person that is being targeted or being put into this program. And so let's go over this again, because again, time after time, we need to rehash or go back and understand what is a coercive persuasion program, mind control program, brainwashing, same thing. Okay, so let's talk about coercive persuasion, okay, and its definition. And according to the American Heritage Dictionary, okay, so according to the American Heritage Dictionary, coercive psychological systems are behavioral change programs which use psychological force in a coercive way to cause the learning and adaptation of an ideology or designated set of beliefs, idea, attitudes, or behavior. The essential strategy used by the operators of this program is to systematically select, sequence, and coordinate many different types of coercive influence, anxiety, and stress-producing tactics over continuous periods of time. In such a program, the subject is forced to adapt in a series of tiny invisible steps. So at first, you don't know that you're being manipulated, you're being brainwashed, okay? Each tiny steps is designed to be significantly small so that the subjects will not notice the change in themselves or identify the coercive nature of the process being used. The subjects of these tactics do not become aware of the hidden organizational purpose of the coercive psychological program until much later, if ever. So there are still people out there who's being put into this program, being brainwashed, psychologically conditioned without their knowledge, and may never know what happened to them. Okay, and there's some of us who, I guess, recognize or notice these types of programming, okay, or may notice some sort of repetition or pattern of people doing things in front of them, you know, whether it be noise, hand signals, certain things, that others may pass off as just being bad luck or unfortunate series of events, but are in fact a purposely event, a purposeful event that's being done to the individual. Okay, these tactics are usually applied in a group setting by well-intended but deceived friends and allies of the victim. This keeps the victim from putting up the ego defense we normally maintain in known adversarial situation. The coercive psychological influence of these programs aim to overcome the individual critical thinking abilities and free will, apart from any appeal to informed judgment. So, they attack your ability to think, they attack your free will, they enforce their will on the subjects or the victims. Sometimes the victims don't know it. Those of us who do understand and do know what's going on, this is myself as well as other TIs, we fight back. And thank you again, recognizing the siren sound, because you do this video exposing them. That's what they resort to. Okay, that's one of the things that they resort to. It's a noise campaign. All right. So victims gradually lose their ability to make independent decision and exercise informed consent. Their critical thinking, defenses, cognitive process, values, ideas, attitudes, conduct, and ability to reason are undermined by a technological process rather than by meaningful free choice. So, your ability to act a certain way or to make an informed decision that will benefit you have been taken away, okay, and is being replaced by an attitude, behavior, conduct, negative ideas. Remember, this is all negativity you're being conditioned to once you in this program. Okay, now when people start to realize, hey, something is being done to this individual, then they may go to those individual and try to say, well, we're trying to help this individual, but that's not really the case. As it says here, friends and families with good intention are being deceived, right? And sometimes they're not being deceived. Sometimes they know exactly what they're doing to you, and it's being done in a purposeful way in order to destroy your life, okay, or destroy your mentality. All right, okay. So their critical thinking, defensive, cognitive process, values, ideas, attitudes, conduct, and ability to reason are undermined by a technical process rather than by meaningful free choice, rationality, or the inherent merit or value of the ideas or propositions being presented. How do they work? So, the tactics used to create undue psychological and social influence, often by means involving anxiety and stress, fall into these 7 main categories. Okay, and they are called tactics. So, tactics 1: increase suggestibility and soften up the individual through specific hypnotic or other suggestibility increasing techniques such as extended audio, visual, verbal, or tactile fixation drill, which I've discussed many times in my videos and on my show on TalkShoe. Excessive exact repetition of routine activities, sleep restriction, and or nutritional restriction. Now, let's talk about the softening up. So, how do they soften you up? Okay? And softening you up is not a process where, all of a sudden your mind becomes like a sponge, right? So something has to be done to you. So whether it's the use of drugs, and it's most likely the use of drugs, you were drugged at one point, therefore softening up your mind, okay? And the military before used to use LSD in psychological experiment to soften up the mind. That's one of the drugs that they were used. Okay, so tactics 2: establish control over the person's social environment, time, and source of social support. So as you can see in my videos, we talk about control over the person's time, social environment. Okay, so either in my neighborhood or Pam's neighborhood, which when I'm here during the week to pick the kids up from school and such, the minute that I leave this apartment building, this apartment, again, neighbors, strangers, whether in this apartment building, outside this apartment building, all participates in targeting. So the minute I walk out that door, if somebody's walking by, before they even see me, they stick their fingers in their ears or they pinch their nose. Okay, or it may be with the noise campaign. Police car pass by with the sirens on, fire trucks pass by with the sirens on. Okay, or civilian cars drive by, they honk their horn. So there are a number of things that they do. Okay, and that's just one example that I'm talking about. All right. So let's go again. So establish control over a person's social environment, time, and source of social support by a system of often excessive rewards and punishment. Social isolation is promoted. Contact with friends, family and friends is abridged, as is contact with persons who do not share their group attitudes. So if you meet someone who doesn't want to participate in targeting you, they will go to that person, threaten that person, and that person will stay away from you. Okay? And let's say you do meet someone and that person is engaging in psychological harassment or psychological attacks on you, you will tend to exhibit what is called a fight or flight phenomenon. So for most TIs, we usually don't even bother with these people. We just stay away from them. Okay. So economic and other dependence on the group is fostered. So get you into a situation where they'll they get you fired from your job, okay, and to where then they'll blacklist you, and then they'll pair you with someone who will participate in targeting you, give them a very good paying job. Let's say if they're in a certain field, all of a sudden they'll get a raise or something like that, and it's a substantial raise, or they may be going to school, get a job, and they'll be on the higher paying scale of that job. Okay, this is what they'll do, and all because they want you to be dependent on that individual, and that person can use the fact that you're not working, that you're dependent on them for financial support. They will use that to their advantage to try and control you. Okay, prohibit disconfirming. That's tactic 3. Prohibit disconfirming information, a non-supporting opinion in group communication. Rules exist about permissible topic to discuss with outsiders. Communication is highly controlled, and in-group language is usually constructed. So, let's say you're on a TI talk show. Okay, they'll have perps in there, and they'll steer the conversation the way how they want the conversation to steer, which is to be something that's going to attack you, the individual, the target, personally. They'll start saying things, and again, you will feel attacked. Now, if the moderator, the person who's doing the call, is staying on topic, they will cause disruption. They will cause arguments within the group, within the chat. Okay. Also, if you're on the phone with another TI and that person's telling you about something, some information, all of a sudden your phone call would just drop. Okay. And if you call them back and start discussing the same thing again, your phone call would drop. So this is what they do. Okay. So tactics 4 makes the person re-evaluate the most central aspect of his or her experience of self and conduct and prior conduct in negative ways. See, this is where I differ. Okay, because in a coercive persuasion, specifically if it's used as a form of revenge, or as a form of concealment of let's say non-consensual experimentation, they don't have you re-evaluating yourself in terms of your past experience or prior conduct in negative ways. They want you to be negative. Okay, they want you to act negative. That is the condition, and they use what is called dark NLP to do that. They use what is called like classical conditioning. Use it as a reward and punishment type thing. Or if you're angry and you yell at the people who is psychologically harassing you, then they will stop, or all of a sudden, the harassment would cease. So now you're walking around being angry all the time. Nobody can say nothing to you because you'll snap at them verbally. See, so this is what they do. So I have to explain this because when in terms of trying to conceal non-consensual human experimentation, illegal microchipping, they want to create a negative persona within the individual, because then more people are going to be in line with what they're doing. Okay, because again, this is about deception. This is about deceit. All right. Create a sense of powerlessness by subjecting the person to intense and frequent action and situation which undermines the person confident in himself or his judgment. Okay, so again, they'll use that by using the opposite sex. I'm using this as an example. Whereas, if you approach the opposite sex, if you're a male TI, they will talk to you. You might get their number. You might go out on a date with them. And then they'll start trying to belittle you in subtle ways. Okay, they'll call you crazy, or they may sleep at you and then try to put you down that sort of thing. And for women, they may try to make you feel as if you're a prostitute. If they sneak at you, they like give you money afterwards, even though you're not asking for money. But again, that is to try to make you feel negative, to try to make you feel like you're a prostitute, that sort of thing. So these are just examples of what it is that they do. So tactic 6, create strong aversive emotional arousal in the subjects by use of non-physical punishments such as intense humiliation, loss of privilege, social isolation, social status change, intense guilt, anxiety, manipulation, and other techniques. So like I said, they'll fire you from your job. Okay, if you used to be a very social person, you go out all the time, all of a sudden you become an introvert. You don't go out anymore. Okay, you become socially isolated. A loss of privileges. If you in a relationship, they may use sex as a weapon. Okay, so if you don't respond in a way in which they want you to respond, your significant other will deny you that intimacy. Okay, and then tactic 7, intimidate the person with the force of group sanctions, secular psychological threats. For example, it may be suggested or implied that failure to adopt the approved attitude, beliefs, or consequence behavior will lead to severe punishment or dire consequences such as physical or mental illness, the reappearance of a prior physical illness, drug dependence. And let me just pause ahead, because on one of the targeted individual groups on Facebook, there was somebody who made a post saying that drugs makes the targeting go away. Okay, see, so when you see people posting stuff like that, particularly those who claim to be TIs, they're not TIs. Okay, because the TI, that's what they're trying to do. They try to get you dependent on drugs. They're trying to cause you to lose your job if you haven't already lost your job. For the economic collapse. If you have money in the bank, they will do things. If you have a car, they will mess with your car, so you're constantly repairing your car to deplete your financial resources. Okay, so your social failure, no friends, family won't talk to you, or if you do talk to your family, try to explain what's happening, they'll call you crazy, that sort of thing. So then you tend to shy away and stay away from family and friends. Okay, if you're married, it will lead to divorce by having significant others attack you psychologically, and they may not know what they're doing, again, because particularly if you're a microchip, which is a receiver and transmitter, transmitting microwave frequency to influence them to target you, and they may not know what they're doing. Because I've trust me when I say this, because my kids, when we're being microwaved in the home, they use my kids to target me. Okay, but then again, you have to understand that it is not your children; it is your children being manipulated by a signal. Okay, that operates on the same frequency of a person's brainwave. Okay, to cause them to do these things. Okay, and failure to find a mate. So if you're a TI, you're single, you have difficulty finding a mate, and again, they use this to their advantage, because sometimes, when you're not thinking about anyone, you're like, what, I'm not even bothered with this. I'm just gonna chill by myself and figure out what to do and better yourself in any way. Then they will send somebody and to become involved with you, right? But then let's say if you're actively looking to date, they will go to these people and manipulate them into not dating you or not talking to you. So again, they're confused. A lot of times it's to try to confuse you, but they themselves are confused people, confused individuals. Okay, so these tactics of psychological force are applied in such a severe degree that the individual capacity to make informed and free choice becomes inhibited. The victims become unable to make the normal, wise, or balanced decision which they most likely or normally would have made had they not been unknowingly manipulated by these coordinated technical processes. The cumulative effect of these processes can be even more effective form of undue influence than pain, torture, drugs, or the use of physical force and physical and legal threats. All right. So again, just want to rehash this and just give an examples and explanations of what it is. Okay. So again, if you're a TI, if you're an experimentee, meaning that you've been put into a non-consensual human experimentation, this is used to basically discredit you, basically destroy your life, or use it as a threat to destroy your life in order to keep you silent about what's being done. Okay, understand this. All right. Okay, so wanted to do this video because this is like I said, this is going to be a short video because this happened this morning as I was taking the kids to school. And let me see here. Okay, so after I took my son to school, Ethan took him first, and as I was walking towards the school, there was this guy standing there. He was wearing a red t-shirt and he had on a green hat. All right, so I noticed that he was just standing there in the middle of the sidewalk, and then he had another parent who I see from time to time, another gentleman. You know, he takes his daughter to school and pick up, what have you, and he's one of the main people that they use to blatantly target me. So he was there today, and when he saw me coming, you know, he does the you know, the peace sign, but his fingers are pointed downwards instead of up. You know, like this is the peace sign, except his fingers is pointed down like that. Okay, so when he sees me, he did that. Then the other guy in the red shirt, you know, he's looking at me, what have you. So the other guy in the red shirt, you know, he walks off, okay, in the opposite direction. And I took Ethan to school, and as I'm walking back, you know, I see the guy in the red shirt, the green hat again, and he's excuse me, and you know, so he's like walking up the block. I'm behind him. You gotta excuse me. Okay, sorry. Okay, so he's walking up, and you know, he's like a good distance, you know. So, you know, walked to my daughter's school, got upstairs, you know, chat with her teacher for a little bit. I didn't drop off and leave, and so eventually I left. Okay, and so this is me leaving my daughter's school, and again, you know, I started recording because, you know, the way how they've been psychologically attacking me this week, you know, the beginning of this week, is in very subtle ways, as opposed to last week when, you know, the previous video I did, if you look at it, you'll see the use of the fire trucks and all that stuff for the noise campaign. So they've been very subtle. Okay, also I've noticed that Pamela has not been asking me to take her to work. Now normally, you know, she wants me to take her to work because she's always late, and when I take her to work, you know, we get there early, considering if she gets to the car where I normally pick up by like around, you know, 8:45. It takes you 15 minutes, you know, and I get her to work on time. So I've noticed that lately she has not been asking me to take her to work at all, even though, you know, she's been leaving the house late. Normally she's like, oh, I'm so tired, take me to work, blah blah blah. All right, so, you know, I didn't say anything, you know, and because I figured they want me walking now, they don't want me driving. Okay, because again, you know, showing a pattern of harassment in that way, okay, is one way that they don't want me to show continuously. So they figure, well, you know what, if he's walking, he's not going to record as much, you know, and so we're going to attack him that way, you know. But again, I anticipate that this was going to happen, you know, because again, it's a repetitive thing that they do, and because I'm sure next week it'll go back to her asking me to take her to work again. So this week it's it's a different tactic that they're using. Okay, so let's start the video, and I'm gonna mute this video, this part here. Okay, so as I'm walking, so you see this guy here in the red shirt. This is the same guy that was in front of my son's school. Okay, and this was when I took my daughter, when we left Ethan's school and we walked to my daughter's school, and for me walking over there, going upstairs, talking to her for a little bit, I would say it was about maybe 10 minutes has passed, right? So from the time I took Ethan to school, walked with my daughter to her school, this guy was already at this corner right here. Okay, now it doesn't take a person 10 minutes to walk from this corner to here. Okay, so obviously he was there waiting for me, and once I left, they signaled him for me to leave, or he stood up there, saw me exit out, and then started walking, right? So this whole time he'll turn and he'll look up at the windows of the buildings, right? So they go back to look up at windows. So I do the same thing too, right? So let's see if we can get up a good picture of him. So this is him, and you see, look, he looks very mad because now he knows I'm recording. He knows I'm recording, so he gets mad now. Okay, and he's like looking at me with this mean look in his face. I'm like, whatever. Okay, so what happened also is that because it's street theater, things are played out in a certain manner depending on how they want it to play out. Okay, a lot of times, when I record, I would normally stop the video short, but now I realize that when I do that, I miss out on a whole bunch of stuff that they do, if I had stopped the video. So from now on, when I take out my cell phone and I start recording, I'm going to record until I get to my destination, or I'm heading back and get back to my destination. Okay, so see, she bows her head as she sees me. Okay, again, bows his head. Alright, now you'll see this lady here, when she sees me, she goes like this. You see as he walks by. Let's go back here. See that? Okay. Like I said, normally, you know, I would have ended the video already, but knowing what I know and knowing the behavior of these individuals, these people, how they've been conditioned, and the cult mentality that they have, and you know, see, so this young girl right here, so she sees me again. You can see her, and then she'll go to take out her headphones to put it in her ears. But then she realized that I'm recording, okay? So some of them, they're smart enough not to do certain hand signals or what have you, particularly maybe they don't want to be on camera, you know, because they don't want to be identified. But see, now she brushes her hair away, and then normally they would just, you know, put their earbuds in their ears. Again, that's just masking to simulate, you know, the sticking of the finger in the ears, that sort of thing. Because she just took her headphones the minute she saw me. Now, the minute she saw me, she's took it out, right? Okay. So, motions are already in play. You know, things that they're going to do already in play. Now, look at this guy right here. Okay? Now, he stops, and I'm gonna show you how they mask things. So if you're not a TI and you're looking at this, you know, if I didn't, you know, explain what's going on, you know, you wouldn't understand, right? So I'm explaining it so that you can understand what's being done, okay? And they, remember, sometimes, a lot of times they all work in tandem with one another, and sometimes they'll team up in a certain way to mask the harassment, okay? And in this case, you're going to see what I think what anybody would see is sexual harassment. Watch what happens. Okay, this part. So, as he walks away from me, he grabbed his crotch, right? Put his hands right on his crotch, okay? And then he turns around, okay? Because again, the minute they see you, him not realizing that I'm recording, okay? The minute he knows that I'm coming across the street, then he starts to move, okay? Now, this part. Okay, so now right here, you see it? He grabs his crotch, he grabs his penis. And then he turns around. And again, the reason why he has this, you know, these bags here is, again, you know, they can say, well, you know what, is your interpretation that he's doing that. But trust me, I saw it, okay? When he turned, I saw where his hands went. Okay, and even when he turned around this way, his hands was on his crotch, right on his penis. Okay, now they're gonna try to play it off. See, now they're gonna try to play. So as he turns, he looks up at the house across the street with the window again, because they do the window thing, right? And hold on a second. Let's see what's going on here. Okay, sorry. So, let me go back.
Look at this perk.
Okay. So he looks up at the window. It's very quick. He sees it. He looks up at the house across the street at the window.
Yes, he doesn't care.
And now he's trying to play it off now. Okay. So there's another individual across the street. I guess they work at the same place, and they're giving out these leaflets, right? So again, masking technique. So that's hence the reason for me explaining all this stuff, because they are so good at masking their psychological attack, right? So that if you do get it on camera, you know, if you're not explaining it, no one would explain. Okay?
Look at it. I just want to give you a good example. See, trying to be slick. But you saw on video what he did. Again, street theater.
Okay.
Take a good look at him.
And so they will get anybody they can find. Okay? And so
take a very, very good look at him. That's how it plays out. See how it plays out? Again, once they stop the harassment, it's very difficult for them to stop it. So
yeah, because once the act is in play, it is difficult for them to stop, so they have to follow through. That's the reason why I kept recording. Okay, once I started to realize that, I said to myself, oh, okay, so even though one or two of them may realize that they've been recorded and may not do certain things, like the girl that was walking towards me, the young girl, she takes out her headphone. Normally they would, you know, put it in the air, but she didn't, right? Because again, as she got closer, she saw that I was recording, and she didn't want to do that, right? Others may not be as quick or as smart, so they're going to follow through with whatever they're being told to do. Okay, so again, just want to give an example. Want to go through the Coercive Persuasion Program, the tactics, and you know, just want to explain exactly what it is these people are doing. So if you're a TI, don't be surprised when they start, if they haven't already done it, that they will be doing this. Okay, and you know, just knowing is a lot better than not knowing, because at least you know what to encounter and what you're up against. And don't, if you have a feeling of fear or negative, or try to make you feel negative in any way or fearful in any way, don't. Okay, and particularly if you have a cell phone with a camera, record them. Okay, expose them. Okay, so this is it for the video, and you know, I'll be speaking to you guys on the next video. Thank you.